Today we are going to name 10 anime villains who are terrible to work for, and you will definitely be shocked by their terrible work. Would you like to know? So stay with me until the end of the video. Working for anime villains usually has many perks. For example, underlings are given great armor, typically dominate society as the ruling class, and are protected by the story's most powerful characters should the worst case scenario come to pass. However, a handful of antagonists are horrible employers that made their underlings' lives completely miserable. They treated them like disposable cannon fodder, sacrificed them on a whim, and even directly told them that they did not care if they lived or died. While embodying villainy, they certainly fail to inspire loyalty in those who follow them. Number 10. The Major, Hellsing. Hellsing's Major effectively worshipped violence above all else. During the attack on London, he was almost as glad to watch his own subordinates die as he was their enemies, given that the body count still increased. As a result, he clearly does not care for his subordinates' lives or even have a safely achievable goal. Worse yet, the Major expects his accomplices to take their own lives if it should suit the mission. When Alucard began absorbing copious amounts of blood, Scrodina slit his throat so that his corrupted blood would sedate the anti-hero for the foreseeable future. Number 9. Orochimaru, Naruto. Orochimaru led Naruto's Sound Village and was among the series' oldest antagonists. He led an army of scientifically enhanced shinobi against Konoha, whether having them participate in the Chunin exams or invade directly. Unfortunately, Orochimaru is a horrible leader that gleefully sacrifices Team Dosu for the sake of his Edo Tensei. He treated Sasuke with similar disposability, trying to seduce him with power, only to take over his body. The only person in Orochimaru's employ that he didn't flagrantly exploit was Kabuto, since the man was simultaneously too useful for him to lose and too boring for him to steal the body of. Number 8. Meruem, Hunter x Hunter. When Meruem first surfaced, he was Hunter x Hunter's worst master. Peggy rushed to greet him into the world with excitement, only to be executed in a single flick of the king's tail. His underling's sole offense was being annoying, which horrified onlookers and convinced Miliran to align with the heroes. Meruem attacked Neferptah during the conquest of the NGL for a similar offense, yet he was surprised when his guard lived. Regardless, he made the point not to be challenged or irritated abundantly clear to those born to serve him. Number 7. Akainu, One Piece. Akainu's obsession with justice made him an exemplary One Piece Marine. However, his underlings did not fully appreciate how little he valued their lives, as seen during Whitebeard's attack on Marineford. When a soldier fled the battlefield from fear, Akainu did not console him, or even threaten him. Instead, he used his devil fruit to reduce the man to a smoldering pulp. In the Admiral's mind, a marine who was not wholeheartedly invested in the world government and the destruction of pirates may as well be dead. Number 6. Aizen, Bleach. There weren't many people Bleach's Aizen cared about, including his own subordinates. He did not grieve their deaths against the Shinigami and even cut down Tear Terrible himself when she failed to meet his expectations in a timely manner. Considering how Aizen stole Berrigan's kingdom and allowed Yami to assault his own comrades without repercussions, he's clearly dismissive of the organization's well-being, so long as they are able to deliver him results. Surprisingly, most Espada still gave their lives in his service, which illustrates a deep sense of manipulative charisma. Number 5. Dio, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio was the main antagonist of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and an immortal monster. While not particularly involved in henchman affairs, he expected unconditional obedience from them and offered little in exchange. This was seen when Vanilla Ice took his own life to prove his loyalty before the battle for Cairo. Dio also refused to release servants from his service, as demonstrated when threatening Whole Horse to attack the Crusaders. More troublesome minions are given brain parasites, so that they don't have any choice when fulfilling their dark benefactor's orders. Number 4. Magath, Attack on Titan. Magath was the leader of Attack on Titan's warrior program, and a man more sympathetic to Eldians than most of his cohorts. However, he still openly treated them as inferiors, and refused to stand up for them under Marleyan persecution. Moreover, Magath consented to Gaba's death charge against an enemy fortification, even though it realistically should have killed her. Perhaps Magath's worst shortcoming is that he's also a disastrous military general. His defense of Liberio and attack on Peridus both ended in utter failure, with only casualties to show for his efforts. Magath may have repented at the end of his life, but he'd lost his entire army by that point. Number 3. Queen. One Piece. Queen's cruel personality in One Piece made it virtually impossible to work for him. During the Uden arc, he repeatedly ordered much weaker minions to attack Luffy despite knowing they'd get mauled. His plan was to wear the Straw Hat Captain down over time, using his own soldiers as cannon fodder. During the Onigashima attack, Queen's open disdain for his minions became more direct. He turned his Ice Oni plague against the Beast Pirates, transforming them into monsters and spreading their contagion to enemy samurai. Number 2. Bandit Keith, UGIO. Bandit Keith's wanton narcissism made him a magnetic albeit polarizing villain in UGIO. It gave his band of cronies the confidence they needed to take Duel Island by storm and even make it to Pegasus Castle. Still, Keith's treatment of his underlings was cruel and unfair, given how faithfully they served him. After sealing the heroes in a tomb, he beat his minions up and took their starships to recover a recent loss against Joey Wheeler. Keith didn't care if his subordinates were disqualified, so long as he had his rematch against Pegasus. Number 1. Askeladd, Vinland Saga. Askeladd was the incorrigible main antagonist of Vinland Saga's first arc. Despite leading his band of soldiers for many years, he quietly hated them for their lineages and admitted to using them as pawns. Rather than surrender Prince Canute in order to avoid Thorkel's wrath, Askeladd proved more than comfortable with butchering his own people. The only person he expressed a remote amount of concern toward was Bjorn, who repeatedly proved his merit and friendship throughout the decades spent together. Sween acknowledged Askeladd as a masterful manipulator yet didn't predict his attack at the court. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.